Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Donut Shop Cop, the podcast. Well, we, as you remember, it's been a long time, are your one-stop destination where we dive into captivating world of real estate investing, sprinkled with the irresistible aroma of freshly baked donuts. If you if you forgot, I'm your host Chris, along with my partner Andy B, and together we're going to take you on an extraordinary journey. So, Andy, why don't you tell these folks how we met, how Donut Shop Cop came to, what we're doing here, why we're blowing up their 2024?
Well, I think it was a cold night in Cincinnati, or it could have been Oregon. I don't know. I can't remember. Or Colorado. Who knows? I was in a coffee shop making bad real estate decisions, and you were on patrol. And you come in with your swagger and you look over my shoulder and you're like, damn, you're making some bad decisions there in real estate. Let me see if I can help you. That's not the real story, but we're sticking with that one.
Yeah, that's not the real story. And then I arrested you. But no, this fat kid is known to hang out in a few donut shops a time or two. So it wouldn't be odd that we met somewhere. Who knows? Probably in the ghetto somewhere, knowing me, in some kind of donut shop. But no, but first of all, Happy New Year, man. I mean, Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to wife Maureen and all our listeners out there.
Same to you and your family, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a
Way to
little
ring
late.
in the new year.
We're a little late.
We are a little late. Hey, it's 10 days. We're within the window still. We're still within
All
the
right.
window. I'm still within jacking up, putting 2023 or 2024. So I think I can still say Happy New Year to all of our longtime listeners out there.
Happy, successful New Year for all of our
Yes.
listeners out
Yes. So
there, right?
everyone puts out New Year's resolutions. So one of ours New Year's resolutions was get the podcast back on track, right? We took about a month or so off, maybe a little bit more because of the holidays and didn't
Yeah,
want to bug people. But, and in the spirit of resolutions, we will be back stronger than ever in 2024.
that's right. And with gluten-free donuts.
I don't know about that, dude. I ain't doing that shit. Like this fat kid only eats real donuts. Like I ain't doing soy donuts, gluten-free crap. Like no, this
That's
belly hasn't missed a donut, so we're not going to start now.
No, man, we won't start. But yeah, I mean, look, we had some family things to do. I went to see my kids in Dallas. Actually, checked out some real estate in Dallas, which is very cool. I did some family stuff, which was cool, and then got home, got into 4 deals, and working my tail off to raise capital for those deals. So, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, same kind of thing, man. We had family around, but to kind of bring it back to the real estate, because I know you always like to bring it back to real estate, and I'm normally one that takes the train off the track, so I'll bring it onto the track. So we had family, but the best Christmas I had this year was, as you know, we started a flip in September up
Mhm.
here in Auburn, and this one had a little extra meaning behind it because our company bought it, and we bought it cheap directly from the owner, and we were rehabbing it, and we were able to turn around and sell it to my son
Right?
at a discounted rate, and we
Yep.
were also able to gift him some equity. The company was so he was able to come into the property with no money down, and he's a homeowner. He's not renting. The business still made money. He's got a new home that's completely brand new, remodeled inside and out. So that was a good way to end 2024. Just speaking of family, and that's what this business is about, right? It's about giving back to the people that we care about and the people we want to leave a legacy for. So that's
Absolutely.
kind of how I ended my year, and I'm hoping the 2024 kicks off just as good.
No, it will. I mean, we got some big plans, right? With this
Yep.
podcast, we got some really big plans. We got some people to invite on that are chomping at the bit to come on, right?
Yep.
We actually
Yep.
had one viewer that left though, so we'll have to invite them back, whoever
Right.
that was.
Yeah.
And
So I mean, your new year is starting off well. So I mean, obviously, let's talk about the GP team and kind of what that deal entails, just high level. Like, tell the folks what you've been up to.
I just want to start by saying, if you stay at this, it works, right? I know that's cliche, but it's working. So people watch you on your social media. They watch what you're doing. They watch your posts, and if you're consistent in that, which we haven't been, so we're going to get back on track with that,
Yep.
right? Just to be transparent, then people notice and they step up and take the action to call you or to see what you're doing. So I had a couple of things go on, right? I'm not going to get long-winded about this, but I got invited into a 216 unit deal that I'm going to be a GP on that I have to raise capital for, and that was in Dallas.
Yep.
So guess what I did? I
You
went
flew
to
to Dallas.
I went to Dallas, saw my family for Christmas, and I'm writing that trip off, right?
Yep.
Because we walked the 216 unit, then we walked some other units, and you know, it was nice to be invited into something that big, because that's a $25 million deal.
Right.
So
Yeah.
just for the people out there that are listening out there, 4.5 years ago, I didn't have a clue what the hell I was doing. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I'll speak for me because in the Dumb and Dumber, I'm probably the dumber part of this equation. But it's the same thing, right? I mean, 2 years ago, if you'd have told me that, in a little less than a year, I'd raise $2.5 million, and then I would get into a flip, because we've done flips for years. But if you would have told me I would have gotten into a flip with absolutely zero money down out of my own pocket, and I'm able to gift my son more than $70,000 worth of equity, the business still makes money. He still got a home below market value that was completely remodeled. And the side note is 2 cops made 15% on their money. I only had their money for 3 months, but I paid them for 6 months. Everybody won. And dude, if this dumber can do it, anybody can do it. And that's just a testament to, if you stick to it and you're consistent, which on this podcast we haven't been, but that's why we're back.
We're back.
You know, but that doesn't mean that we weren't consistent in other ways, right? I mean, that's just kind of the nature of being an entrepreneur and juggling your own business. Some things, parts fall, they don't completely go away, but they're not the priority. Other stuff takes over, right? So when I'm doing a flip, I'm doing a rehab, or you're doing a 216 unit apartment complex, some things have to give, because we still have to have our families and our lives. And you and I are still 2 W-2 employees that are looking to bounce out of those.
Well, but here's the thing: is you need the W-2.
Yes.
You can't get a loan without a W-2. No matter how you slice that cake, unless you're actually full time at this, like as an accredited investor or whatever, you need that W-2.
Absolutely.
So, I would not tell anybody to quit their job.
No. Not without some sort of security net or some sort of plan, right? I mean, you need to have some sort of plan in order to take that leap, because I think you and I are both close, but it's still that safety net, right? It's a little scary to kind of say, we want to jump into it full bore. And, the good news is, like, with private money, we don't need loans. So my credit doesn't matter. My bank account doesn't matter. My experience matters, but even that doesn't matter, right? It's the deal and the people you're working with that matter. And so
it's totally that. But on a conventional, like you do things a little different than I do, right? You raise private money, right?
Yep.
That's what you do, right? Although I am part of that team. Most of the stuff I do, when you're talking about a 216 unit or larger, you have to go, either seller financing, or you have to have conventional loans. It's just, that's the nature of the game, right?
Absolutely. But it's a different means, but the same end, right? It's just a different means to the same end, because, just like you can sit here and say you're raising money and I'm raising money, even though it's kind of a little bit different, your folks are still going to make the same interest rate, that's protected, secured, and insured by real estate, right? So they're going to, even though it's a syndication or it's a, whatever you want to call it, private money, non-private money, GP team, non-GP, folks that you pitched money to, right? They're going to get a return on their investment, and it's going to be a damn good return, right? I mean, not to put you on the spot, but I mean, even you can even use a past example, but the 216 unit, give yourself a plug on that, right? Like, I would assume on every 100K that somebody invests, whether they're accredited or not, as long as they have a prior relationship with you or I, and we're not just blindly asking for money from strangers, right? We do it legally within the SEC, right? They're probably going to get, at least a 5 to 10% return year over year, and probably a I would imagine, a 2x somewhat multiplier in 5 to 7 years.
It's about a 2.5x. Yeah, it could be 3, depending, because the area that these people picked it's a B class neighborhood, but the bottom line is that what's going on in Texas is amazing. The growth is amazing, right? And so Universal City's coming into Texas, Dallas, right. The Dallas area.
Right.
So, I'm looking heavily there. But
and so again, I'm the dumber part of this equation of the Dumb and Dumber, right?
Yeah.
I always say I'm with Dummy, but I think I'm the dumber one. But just for the layman listening, 2x to 3x, that means in my brain, if I put in 100 in 5 to 7, I'm going to get 200 back
or more, but you're also cash flowing along the way.
Right. That's my point. That's what I wanted you to describe to the listeners out there, right? So not only do you get the cash flow every single year, so don't look at, right, when I offer somebody 15% on a 3 to 6 month loan, I can do that 15%. Obviously, you can't on a long-term loan because you can't afford that, right? So they might get a 5 or 6% return in cash flow, which you're like, ooh, that doesn't sound very good. I like 15 better. Well, I do too. But at the end of my 3 to 6 months, it's not doubled, right? The multifamily real estate, that's the long-term play where your money doubles along with the cash flow, right?
This is a long-term play. And I'm in 3 other deals that are long-term plays, 7 years and 5 to 7 years, but it's still 3x your money, right? So the whole time you're in it, every quarter, if it's a 506B, and I'll get into that a little later, but every quarter you're getting a payout. Now, what you decide to do with that, that's up to you. But, a smart investor puts that money away towards their next investment.
Right. And that's exactly what we do with my apartment complex, right? We give out a quarterly dividend. Mm-hmm. And, that's minimal, but as it stabilizes, it just keeps increasing, right? Every quarter it's increased. And so you can see that value coming. And then in 3 to 5, we already had $800,000 of equity in the property 4 months after we bought it and rehabbed it. So you can just see that value being added as rents increase, expenses go down, your NOI goes up, right? Mm-hmm. So, not to get too complex, but in 5 years, it's 2 to 3x, easy.
Easy. And part of what we do as a team is that we are very conservative, as you probably know, right? So we don't come in with high pollutant, we're going to get you rich and blah, blah, blah. Our numbers are always conservative. And one of the things I really want to stress when you're dealing in what we do, and hopefully what, our listeners are thinking about doing, is always raise more money than you need. Always. Right? Your investors will love you for that, especially when a boiler goes out in the middle of winter. And, you're talking about, I don't know how much a boiler is. Let's just say $10,000, $15,000. You don't have to do what's called a capital call.
Yep.
Right? And I've been on one of those. I've been on the receiving end of one of those. It ain't fun.
No, because you're basically going back to them saying, we're out of money. We need more.
Yep.
And they're supposed to be getting a dividend check. And then here you're asking them to write you a check.
Yeah. I've been on the receiving end that I have not. Thank God, right? All of my team has always been very conservative, so we've never had to have one of those. But I've been on the receiving end, like I said, and it's not fun. So that's the other thing you have to think about. So let's talk about the future of things, man. I mean, we can go on about this forever, but I just want to talk about some of the stuff that's coming up for you, some of the stuff that's coming up for me, some of the stuff that so people know where to look for us, what we're going to be doing this year. So if you want to take the lead, then I'll follow up.
Absolutely. So, obviously, Donut Shop Cop, the podcast is going to continue weekly. Every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. is when we're going to be on the air. So we're looking to grow our subscribers to at least above 200 to 300 for the year. That's one of our goals that we've set for ourselves. At least I've set for myself. But for me personally, I've just kind of continued to expand my portfolio. So I continue to raise private capital. I kind of took a back seat from that for a little bit because I was kind of ramping up to get into your world, which is the multifamily world. And so, now I'm doing mail campaigns. I'm contacting owners of apartment buildings. I just put in and probably am going to be in contract after a month-long negotiation on a small little 16-unit apartment complex building in Houston, Texas, here shortly. So that LOI got sent out today, and I believe the owner's going to sign it, which is good.
Wait. For those people that are watching that don't know what a LOI is, what does that acronym mean?
Good question. I had to learn that too, because Dumber over here hadn't known much of that about 4 months ago. I kind of knew what it was in theory, but had never actually executed one. So basically, it's a letter of intent. So you basically spell out the terms, just like if you or I, or you and your wife, or me and my wife, we're going to go buy a house. We fill out a purchase contract with an agent. This is kind of a pre-step to that. So it's basically a template that you kind of can fill out that's got purchase price, some of the terms, some of the conditions, some of the dates that are important, some of the information you're going to request before you get into contract. It's like, hey, this is what I'm going to pay you, and this is kind of what I want to understand about the apartment complex. And if you agree to this in principle, then we'll now go negotiate a formal purchase agreement with a formal timeline, with all the due diligence items that I'm going to request of you, this, and this, and then, you go from there. So it's kind of like buying a house on steroids, because it's such a big deal.
What's the best part of that, though? I know what it is, but you tell me, what's the best part about that?
For me, it was the negotiation and actually having them say, yeah, like we'll sign it.
Well, for me, I'm frugal. So for me, it's getting into a deal without actually putting any money down.
There you go. There you go. And that is the best part of it, because let me tell you the details of this deal without going into numbers just yet, because it's not finalized. But there is an assumable loan on it, which is huge in this time frame, because as you know, interest rates are the talk of the world. You can't find an interest rate right now under 6.5. You might, if you're lucky, if you got repeat business and relationships, but most of us aren't lucky. I'm not one of the lucky ones. So there's an assumable loan. What's that?
Yes, you are.
I might be, knock on wood. But there's an assumable loan that may or may not be lower than 5%. And so I'm going to assume that loan. And then the rest of the money is going to be brought to the table, which is about 15%, by the way, is going to be brought to the table by somebody else. So not me. So basically, I'm going to own an apartment building 100% with zero money out of my pocket. And it's about $400,000 under what he was asking. And it's about $100,000 over what he bought it for 2 years ago.
And that's called OPM, another acronym.
Yes, other people's money.
I want to dive into that a little bit before I get into what I'm doing. So here's what
Warren Cop Talk OPS, dude. Other people's Skrilla.
There you go, man. So there's so much fear in that, right? There's so much fear. Oh my God, where am I going to get the money from? But see how Chris is incredibly creative here, right? Because he's taken the time to learn and has mentors to do that when he's not frozen, and he'll come back. But there he is, he's back. But he's taking the time to learn that, right?
Yep.
Because there's fear. So many newbies are. I had the same problem. I had an imposter syndrome up the yin yang, right? I thought, where the hell? Who's going to give me money? What track record do I have? And it's just a matter of, like we said earlier, keeping the pace, going slow, doing the things that matter one step at a time. We bought our first triplex, horrible experience, but we did it. We bought our second triplex, another horrible experience, but each one of those was a stepping stone to where we're at now. And then eventually we got into our first apartment, second apartment, third apartment, fourth apartment, because actually back then I made the decision, if I was going to work this hard on triplexes and duplexes, I'm getting myself some apartments.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. But let's talk about that though, right? Because everybody hears all the good stories, right? Everyone hears all the wins, like I'm in contract now for an apartment complex, and we just did this flip 2 months ago or a month ago that we just finished this. But what people don't realize is that we're normal people, man. We go through the same ups and downs. We go through the same doubts and fears that everybody does, right? So I can't even tell you how many flips I've done, and they're easy for me to calculate. They're easier for me to go through and do the numbers and say what I'm going to do it for. But there's still that fear when you put your name on that line and say, I'm going to offer you this money, because it's real money that you're signing your name to. And the testament to that is just push through, like you said, that consistency, because like that's kind of why this thing fell off the wheels for a little bit, for a month and a half or 2 months, the podcast, because I was learning how to be a multifamily investor, although I kind of knew how to do it, but it's still scary. And then you get down on yourself because you can't find a deal right away. You want it to happen immediately. And then you get all excited because you put an offer in and then they say, nope, we're not accepting your offer. And you're like, damn it. And so we're normal, man. Like, I go through the highs and lows. You know, this last month has been terrifying, exciting, maddening, frustrating. But then you come out the other side, and hopefully tomorrow I come out the other side with a deal, right? And that's still not the end of the road, right? I still have due diligence to do and probably more negotiating to do based on the condition of this damn place.
No, it absolutely, all of that is true. And it's, even though I have 4 apartment buildings, I still have doubt and fear. And I'm not retired yet, by the way, because on paper, I'm a millionaire, but that's great on paper. But it takes more than 3 or 4 apartments. And it's the other thing people need to know, unless you're talking about 1,000 units and you can crush it, you know, with acquisition fees. This is, you know, this is for people that really want a 5 to 10 year plan for their future and stay in that. And so I'm going to segue by saying that our original mentors, where I met you, Jen and Stacy Conkey, have invited me to speak at another WowCon. So I will be at WowCon 2 hosting that event with some major players in the business, right?
Dude, you're like a celebrity, bro. I'm just so happy that I have your number in my phone. Because now I can tell people, dude, like, oh, it's, even though it's a superior Samsung, dude, I can tell people, like, I got Andy Borsis in my phone, dog.
I love you for that, man. It's 867-5309, by the way.
Yeah. Don't forget the 1 in front. It's not international.
What I saw the lineup that they had, and I got scared because I'm like, I am hosting this. Like,
that's a big deal. That's a big deal, man. Congratulations to you. That's a big deal. Yet another reason, unfortunately, why Donut Shop Cop got kind of knocked down a few rungs on the ladder, but here we are again, man, still pushing through. And, you know, this is the year I think that this thing takes off. And so I'm happy for you, dude. I'm proud for you. I got some news too that I will just give a little teaser for. I as well am going on the road, my friend.
Yeah.
Probably at least 2 to 3 times a month for a large, I'll just say large venture in the real estate world. So I will stay tuned for more on that. My first go at it is in Houston on February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So
why do our dates not coincide ever, that I can come cheer you on and you can come cheer? I know, I was like, because WowCon is February 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Oh, dude, I'll be in Houston. Are you going to be in Florida again?
Yeah. So like, we can't.
I know, because I'm always bummed because I can never go to those, dude. Every time we had one of those quarterly WowCons, dude, I can't go. I'm like, all I want to do is go, and I can't go. Like, but
well, I know what I think I got a hint of what you're doing.
Yeah.
And they never coincide.
Yes, I know. Just a skosh. So I mean, I'm happy. It's a path, a new direction path for me, which is good. As for you, I know this is going to take off for you. This is right up your alley and skills. And we've always said you're the technical geek behind all of this wonderful stuff we do.
Thank you.
Hence your background there. So I know you do sound, you do production, you do event planning. I mean, and you do the MC stuff. So, dude, I'm happy for you, man. That's good news.
So can I drop a couple of other nuggets while we're promoting?
You got to drop some big fat donut holes, dude.
I'm 150 pages into a book that I'm writing called The Common Thread Method. It's about finding the common threads within us when we're trying to when we are raising capital. What is the common thread?
That's really cool.
And
that's really cool. What was the inspiration behind that?
Last time at WowCon, you know, everybody was coming up to me and asking me, how did you raise $4.5 million in a year and a half?
Yep.
On 3 properties.
Did you? Hopefully the answer was because I'm a badass.
Yeah. Okay. First that sure. Okay.
I'm kind of a big deal, if you know what I'm saying.
I gotta figure out. My mentors basically tell me, stop being so damn humble.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But we're
No,
the same in that regard. I mean, I'm the same. I'm a nobody in my brain. That's what keeps me going forward. So, but anyway, let's hear more about this book, bro.
I said it's a common thread, and then I woke up. I don't know, like 3 weeks afterwards, and I had this dream. I woke up and I was like, I got the book idea, and it's
That's so cool.
and THREAD will be broken down into what those letters mean for the thread method.
Oh,
Yeah.
very cool. I'm excited, dude. Hopefully I get a signed copy whenever this bad boy comes out.
Hopefully I get a signed copy.
Yeah.
But here's the best news. The best news is I told Jen Conkey what I was planning on doing. And she's like, well, here's the deal, Andy. I've written 6 chapters on mindset. So why don't we do this book together?
Oh, very cool.
And I was like, hell yeah.
Very cool, dude.
They already have a best-selling book on Amazon.
Yep. Very cool, man. Congratulations, dude.
Yeah.
And on the funny side, hopefully when you woke up, the bed wasn't wet. See, you can't take the cop out of me, Andy. We're still in a donut shop, buddy. Like, it is what it is, dude. Like, I'm sorry. That's the only thing I was thinking of when you said when you woke up, and that's what came to my head. Like, Happy New Year, buddy.
It was definitely not one of those dreams.
Happy New Year, buddy.
Happy New Year, man.
Hey.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Oh yeah, and so Raise Fest is coming up.
You what now?
Raise Fest with Hunter
Raise
Thompson.
Fest. Okay, I'm assuming that's a raising capital fest.
It's a Raising Capital Fest. Jen is speaking at that. I'm not, but I am going to support her.
Where's that one at?
That's in Phoenix.
What? When?
Middle of February, I think, somewhere in there. Yeah, middle of
February.
Really? Come.
I should come, actually.
Yeah, I'll get you the affiliate link. I'm an affiliate, so I'll get you an affiliate link.
Whoa, kind of a big deal. That's cool.
Yeah,
if I'm not in Riverside on February 9th, 10th, and 11th, I will absolutely go.
I'll get the dates. I don't know what they are, but I'll put them in. I'm going to put them in the description anyway when we post it, so people know. Because Raise Fest is a big deal. There's a lot of Pace Morby's going to be there. Hunter Thompson's going to be there. A bunch of other A-list speakers are going to be there. It's basically exactly what it says, teaching you how to raise capital. So that's
cool. Is the target audience people that are looking to raise capital, or is the target audience people that have capital that are looking to deploy it?
I hope both.
I'm sure there will be both.
Yeah, I hope so. But it's going to be an amazing event. It happens every year. I got a signed autographed copy of Hunter Thompson's book. I read it, so now I'll get to see it in person, which would be cool. So I think if people are listening to this and they're interested in knowing how to raise capital for deals, yeah, I mean, that's something that's powerful. So that's the other stuff that's coming up. And obviously the rest of the year, we're going to be focusing on the podcast, getting amazing guests on here.
Yep.
Right? Like
absolutely. Because my goal has only strengthened as I took a hiatus, right? Because my goal of helping cops has only gotten stronger, as especially now that I'm helping more folks. And like I said, on that last deal I did, 2 cops got 15%, which is huge because one of them, it was awesome to read his text message, because after I told him that the wire was coming on this date, which was 2 weeks before he thought it was coming, and I basically said, and here's the number you're getting back. And I just gave him the interest number because obviously he knew what he gave me. And I gave him the interest number, and it was like $18,000 or $15,000, $16,000, something like that. Whoa. And for 3 months, dude, I had his money for 3 months. And so if anybody thinks that Dumb and Dumber like me and you, if you can't make an extra $10,000 or $15,000, $20,000 a year doing this, you're crazy. Like, you are literally crazier than the people I deal with on the streets every day. But he not only thanked me, but his first words were, man, that's the easiest 16, 17 grand I've ever made. Because literally all he did was wire it to me, and I paid the wire fee, and then I wired it back to him. And he had everything. And so the next note was, thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Yeah, right.
Right.
And
I mean, because that's really it, is the opportunity is ours. I don't need your money. Like, you need me more than I need you, man. But I'd love to bring you along, because it's just better with friends. It's better with family. It's better with people like you, people like Jen and Stacy and Amy and Sean. It's just better with people, because you can share the wealth, you can share the fun, and it's just better with more people, man. So
it really is. I mean, the other group I belong to is Vina Jetty's group, Multify,
yep.
which is, again, if you're going to do this, you can't do this alone, right?
No.
You can't be an island. You have to network. You have to be around like-minded people. You have to be in groups that matter. And yeah, I mean, some of them you have to pay for, but I paid
Yep.
for college and I'm not retired yet.
Exactly, dude. Like, I wish, I mean, and I don't say this lightly, because I love my degree. I have a 4-year college degree, and I've got a master's degree. But like, I'm also paying for coaches now. I'm paying for multiple coaches now. And, I went out and got a coach, and John Dessauer has been amazing for me, right? He's like the king of multifamily for me, like, in terms of the people that I know. Obviously, Jen and Stacy are queens of it as well. And there's so many other people, but he was just in my circle, and we just connected, right? And so,
well, that's how we met, right? I mean, we met through a mentorship program.
Yeah,
that's how we met. That was no accident. So
no, and that's how partnerships are formed, right? And that's how lifelong relationships are formed.
So, and part of Vina's group now is I am running a Monday night Deal or No Deal every Monday night from 5 until 6 or 6:30, whenever it is. And part of that, think of it as like a book club, but for underwriting. So you bring your deal to the club, and we analyze the property in the club, which is a pretty cool idea, right?
It is pretty cool.
And then we vote on whether it's a deal or no deal.
Huh. Do you vote on parameters as well? Like, hey, it's a deal if it's this number and under, and it's not a deal if it's this number and over, type thing?
Well, it's based on DSCR and NOI.
Sure. Right.
Yeah. So bottom line, we could explain what DSCR. We'll be here for another 6 hours. But anyway, so what that entails is that you have to come prepared. So it's not a training course. You have to come prepared, and you have to have all of your underwriting already almost established, and then bring it to the group, and we analyze your calculator and the deal itself. So that's one way that you could create another group and find ways to, I mean, if you're having a hard time looking or finding properties, use your network.
Yep. Yeah. Good point. Right. Because your network's going to bring them to you. Because I still get all those messages from Vina, like with everyone's on their deal board and the deal room. And so that's exactly where they're going to come from.
Yeah. I mean, so let's wrap this up by saying we're going to, I think what I'd like to do going forward is kind of put a list out on our, when we put this out, of the guests we're planning on having coming on, and surprise the hell out of them, because some of them might not even know. But so that's pretty much for the year for me and you. And I think that we got some exciting stuff coming up. And again, we took hiatus because I was actually speaking at WowCon 1 in November, and I had to prepare for that. So, I'm looking forward to this year. It's going to be an amazing year, and we're going to get T-shirts.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. They're actually in the cart. I'm ready to order them. So it's good. I'm going to get rid of the polo, because I know you don't like the polo. So we're going with the regular shirt. We're going to stick with the black. I got you.
Yeah. So subscribe, and maybe you'll get a T-shirt.
Yes, exactly. Because we also have mugs. So maybe we'll have a giveaway for mugs or a Yeti or something cool. We got some new things planned for these years, this year coming up. So with that, my friend, I will kind of end it for us, right? We'll kind of send us away. So what I tell everybody every single time is this is the end. So until then, in our next episode, stay safe, stay curious, and never underestimate the power of one good donut.
Yes, sir.
What else you got for us, buddy? 10-10 at the barn?
10-10 at the barn, brother.
10-10 at the barn. See you on the next one. See you next week.
Absolutely.